Well, Andy, can you give us a player's perspective on what happened today?
Yeah, very disappointing. First half we weren't good enough, and we were getting frustrated. Obviously the fans and everyone was getting frustrated, and we probably started forcing it a wee bit when we should probably have just kept the ball and keep composed. And we didn't do that. Second half I thought we started well, and then they grab a goal. We didn't play well in the first half, but didn't concede. And then you come out the second half and you start playing well and you concede. So luckily Sam put us back in level terms quite quickly after that. And then, it was all us, but we couldn't quite find the breakthrough.
Mentioned how he started well in the second half, but what do you think is the key to trying to get the first half going as well? Because in recent times, it hasn't really kicked in, has it, against opponents?
No, you're right. I think that's the last 3 that we've drawn at home, and our first half performances haven't been good enough. And that's for the manager and the players and all of us to get together and try and find a reason why that is. Personally, I can't find the reason for it. I don't know why. We start slow, the teams are starting better than us. I don't know, but it can't keep happening because it's going to keep on costing us.
Diame played on the left-hand side today, of course, in the midfield. Was that a little bit different for yourself, obviously having Clucas predominantly on the left-hand side during the season? Yeah,
it is different. I think me and Clucas have created a good partnership throughout the season. We've played probably every game together with him there, so it was a wee bit different. Diame's He's a different kind of player. He'll go wandering inside, and he'll try and find spaces in there which will allow me to get round. And obviously, but when I go forward, I know Clucas is behind me. You can't guarantee that with Diame. That's not the type of player he is. He's more of a striker. Clucas can cover for me, and I've got more kind of licence to go forward. So it was a wee bit different. Diame, I think he done decent in the left, but I think he's better than in behind the bell probably, and try and create things in there. But we tried it, and then Chuba came out, so it was a wee bit different then as well. But the gaffer thought that was the right decision, and try and get the engine in there with Clucas and Isaac, and obviously we suffered a few injuries the last couple of days, so he'd said to Diame to play left, and we had to make it work, and I don't think we did.
Certainly thought today that yourself, the youngsters, played particularly well today out of the starting 11. How does that transfer over to the more experienced players? Because I could see as well today Michael Dawson rallying the side, trying to get as much motivation for the team during the match.
Yeah, look, like Dawson, Dawson Curtis, they'll always try and keep you going. They're trying to G everyone up and get everyone going, and they're very good at it. It wasn't our day. The fans have been brilliant this season, but we didn't get much favours off them today. There was a few shouts and things like that, and I think people need to maybe understand that with our home form being so good this season, teams are going to set up differently. They're going to set up defensively, and it's a wee bit tougher to break down. We can't just lump the ball forward and hope for a Bell to flick on. That's not the way we can play, because a Bell's not that type of player, and if we do that, we'll just lose it more and more. So we need to be a wee bit more patient, and we need to keep it and create spaces. And if we do that, and maybe the fans buy into it a wee bit more, and get behind us, then that would be perfect. Don't get me wrong, we've been brilliant this season for us, but at the end of the day, the players can't let that affect it. If we're getting affected by fans or coaches or referees or whatever, then we need to look at ourselves. So today wasn't good enough on a team level, personal level, and everything to do with today didn't go well.